Okay, so now I'm going to get into a bit of a controversial topic, which is fine. We love controversial topics here at GLP-1 Central. So we're going to be going into a topic on compounded medication. So those of you who don't know me, hi, my name is Nurse Elizabeth, and I am a registered nurse. I have lost over 90 pounds utilizing a GLP-1 medication. I coach women and men, if needed, on how to manage GLP-1 symptoms, management, nutrition, emotional health, as well as I am the co-owner of GLP-1 Central, which is a free resource full of articles on various diseases associated with GLP-1s, as well as tips for managing the disease of obesity. Okay, so let's dive in. So ultimately, there's the medication of Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. So these medications are not generic medications. They are all medications that are brand name only. Novo Nordisk is the company that owns Ozempic and Wegovy. Eli Lilly is the company that owns Zepbound and Mounjaro. And Mounjaro, so we're going to put aside Mounjaro and we're going to put aside Ozempic. These tend to be prescribed for people with some type of illness associated that's FDA approved. So, for example, kidney disease, doctors have prescribed Ozempic for kidney disease. That's not considered off label. That is actually an FDA approved diagnosis. But the main thing they get prescribed for is type 2 diabetes. They do require a prior authorization, and they do require doctors to, be on board with such. So now you have a caveat. Later on, these medications had been prescribed, like Wegovy and Zepbound are prescribed for weight loss. Most people's insurances do not cover weight loss medications. They may even cover weight loss surgery, but a lot of them do not cover weight loss medications. Even if the person is 400 pounds, even if a patient has comorbidities due to their obesity, insurances will not cover them for weight loss. Now, if somebody has diabetes and they happen to need to lose weight, then good, it works out for them, as sad as it is to say. So this brought back about, I would say it was really right on time I was starting a GLP-1. These medications were nowhere to be found. There was no online pharmacies, there was no Novo Nordisk pharmacy, there was no Lilly Directs and stuff like that. And even if there were, all the medications were sold out everywhere, leading a lot of people to utilize compounded GLP-1 medications. And this is where it gets a little bit scary and a little bit tricky, because compounded medications, when they are utilized properly, they really saved a lot of people who didn't have the medications during that time. People couldn't get their Mounjaro or Ozempic or Wegovy or Zepbound. They couldn't get any of this stuff at that time. So people were turning to compounded medications, and lo and behold, the shortages ended, and people were able to get the name brand medications. So another caveat of these medications is they're really expensive. If you want to pay out of pocket, they can be like $1,000, like $1,200 and stuff. And then there was a savings card that brought it down to $500. Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk have lowered their prices since. So if you do check out their websites, you can see what the current pricing is. It's changing constantly. So so people had turned to compounded due to the shortages, due to insurances not approving the medication, and also due to price, which was a big one. Compounded pharmacies offer the medications at lower prices. And a lot of times compounds are prescribed. A physician can prescribe it, but they'll go through really telehealth companies. To name a few off the top of my head, you have Orderly Meds, you have Bell Health, telehealth companies that utilize, these are not the pharmacies, these are the companies that give you a doctor, they give a video call or a video or a online telehealth appointment, and then they send your script to a pharmacy, and then the pharmacy will ship that to you. It will mail it to your address. So, what is my opinion on it? I know I'm a registered nurse, and my opinion does have some say. So, there's different types of pharmacies. You have 403A and 403B pharmacies. 403. So the difference is they are FDA regulated. They have different regulations by their state. However, this isn't like a tested FDA approved medication, and it doesn't go through all the rigorous testings and stuff. Most of the people who have used them have found them to have similar results and are okay on them. You always have to speak to your providers. Some providers are very against compounded medications, which does make sense, and I can completely understand why. My personal story is I had to utilize a compounded medication, and I was fine. I had no reaction to it, and I used both compounded at one point for semaglutide and tirzepatide, as well as branded Zepbound as well, and they all work very, very, like, basically the same. What you do not want to do is get your medications from something that says for research purposes only. I know there are people who utilize these types of medications. Like I said, I have no judgment against what you do, how you do it. I just have to come from a safety perspective. That is not the best way to obtain medication through these types of sources. There are also some med spas that will hand you medications already drawn up in a syringe. That is not a safe practice for handling the medication. You don't keep medication in syringes and then dish them out that way. So what would a proper pharmacy do? They send you the medication, they send it in safe packaging, they put it in a vial. These tend to be multi-dose vials, and they come with syringes. So in my opinion, if you can, the best is to always brand name. You always want to utilize Zepbound, Wegovy, Mounjaro, and Ozempic. However, if you would like to try a GLP-1 medication and your insurance is not covering it, I do have a couple of links in the description below to the telehealths that I have used and I found to be a reasonable price, reputable pharmacies, as well as a provider situation where you contacted the provider and they don't go like missing for a week and it's like, hey, where's my medication? So those providers and those telehealths I will not be putting, but the ones that I have had the best experience with, the link is in the description below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.